All right, guys, what's going on? Hope you're having a great Monday. Just wanted to jump on here real quick and talk about something that I found. Let me actually see when this was. April 5th, 2024. So not too long after Sebastian Rogers went missing. Not too long. Anyway, it's an article actually on baby Joe Clyde Daniels. A lot of you may not know about the Joe Clyde Daniel case, but he's a little autistic boy where police think that his dad, beat him to death and ultimately hid his body in a rural area, and they still yet haven't found him, and his dad will not say where he's at. And there's a statement that the sheriff made. The former sheriff. And I just want to kind of read you the article, because this really, guys, this speaks volumes. And I'll get into that aspect in just a minute. But let me just read the article to you, and in case you're not familiar with baby Joe Clyde. So it starts out, it's Dickson County, which is neighboring Sumner County, and they're very close to each other. So anyway, the article goes on to say, where is baby Joe? The title of the article is, where is baby Joe? No sign of him 6 years later. So going on 6 years, guys, and they still hadn't found him. So keep that in mind in these missing kids cases. So just keep that in mind, guys. Pretty sad. Where is baby Joe? It's a question that still lingers 6 years later. Sometimes it's like, why can't you find him? The big things you try, Dickson County Sheriff Tim Eads explained. Now, Tim Eads is the current sheriff. An investigation Eads took over as he came into office. That sounds familiar, don't it, guys? Because Sheriff Craddock came into office because Weatherford died. A lot of similarities here, guys. Little Joe Clyde was autistic. Sebastian Rogers autistic. So, anyway, he goes on to say, we remain hopeful that at some point we will find baby Joe's remains. Hope is what investigators in the community are left with. That 5-year-old Joe Clyde Daniels will be found. You'd like to have something totally resolved, and that our hope and continued hope. We do stay positive about that. We are not giving up, the sheriff said. The searches, however, have since ended, with investigators saying they haven't received any credible leads in years as to where the boy, affectionately known as baby Joe, may be. There's no information right now to warrant a search of anywhere at this point, the sheriff stated. The child's father, Joseph Daniels, confessed to fatally beating his son, who had autism. He told investigators that he then dumped his body in a rural area. A jury thinks he did it. They convicted him of it, Eads said, adding that Joseph should let investigators know where the boy is. Joseph's confession played a big role before a jury ultimately found the father guilty of felony murder. Let's see what else he goes on to say here. Now, 6 years after baby Joe's disappearance, another child is being searched for in Sumner County. So now they're talking about Sebastian Rogers. As teams relentlessly search for Sebastian Rogers, each said they all know too well how cases like this can weigh on a community. With now it's apparent with Sumner County that people have emotionally got involved with having that case unresolved, and our hearts certainly go out to them as well, Ede said. Now, it goes on to say, now this is the former sheriff talking and weighing in. And this is what really struck me. Now, this is the former sheriff. So he can say some stuff without any repercussions because he's no longer sheriff. Former Dickson County Sheriff Jeff Bledsoe, who led the search efforts for baby Joe, released the following statement. He goes on to say, I regularly think of Joe Clyde Daniels and his tragic death at the hands of his father. I'm not saying it's the same. However, investigations like the one in Sumner County with Sebastian Rogers remind me of what we had to continue to experience. I often pray we will learn the location his father placed his body. He says, I often pray we will learn the location, basically where his father placed his body, and have closure and have a service to honor his memory. Now, this is a Joe Clyde Daniels story. Right. It's a Joe Clyde Daniels story. It's titled, Where's Baby Joe? No sign of him 6 years later. They really didn't have to mention Sebastian Rogers at all, did they? They didn't. The former sheriff did not have to mention Sebastian Rogers at all. He goes on to say, in that statement that he made, he said, I am not saying it's the same. However, investigations like the one in Sumner County with Sebastian Rogers remind me of what we have and continue to experience. He didn't have to say that, did he? I'm not saying it's the same. It's kind of like he's saying, I'm not saying it's the same, right? However, investigations like the one in Sumner County with Sebastian Rogers remind me of what we have. It reminds the sheriff of what we have with Joe Clyde Daniels and what we continue to experience. So, he's kind of just, it seems to me, in my opinion, he's hinting around at, it seems like he's kind of hinting around, guys. Now, he didn't have to bring up Sebastian Rogers at all. This is an article about Joe Clyde Daniels. And more than likely, to be honest with you, Dickson County probably helped out in the search and, helped out with some of the investigative stuff that, took place early on in the investigation, just like Summer Wells. You probably had 4 counties up there helping. Things get said to each other. Officers talk, right? Officers talk. Don't tell me they don't. They do. Things are said, things are seen, things are heard, things are witnessed by other officers. If you have, let's say Summer lived in Hawkins County. Let's say you had a Greene County officer standing near a Hawkins County detective, and that detective was trying to interview, Summer Wells' mother at the time, and she's acting weird. Well, that Greene County deputy is going to notice that, and he's probably going to hear some stuff too, even though he's not officially assigned to that, because it's Hawkins County. That's what I'm saying. So I wonder if Dickson County was out there in the early onset of the investigation looking for Sebastian Rogers. Maybe that night, maybe, or not that night, maybe that morning. I'm thinking of somewhere else. Maybe that morning Dickson County went out there to help, and a few officers maybe overheard, seen weird behavior. Anyway, the former sheriff, this right here, man, to me, this speaks volumes. Because he didn't have to say this about Sebastian Rogers. It's about Joe Clyde Daniels. And let me say it one more time. Former Sheriff Jeff Bledsoe says, I'm not saying it's the same. However, it's kind of like putting a but in there. But investigations like the one in Sumner County with Sebastian Rogers remind me of what we have, talking about Joe Clyde Daniels, and continue to experience. So they just don't have enough evidence or any leads or anything. And it's 6 years later and they still haven't found him. His dad knows where he's at. And everybody is pleading for his dad to basically say where he's at. That way the boy can get a proper, respected burial, right? And the former sheriff goes on to say, comfort, he's quoting some Bible scriptures here. Comfort is given in Romans 12:12. Rejoice in hope, be patient in tribulation, be constant in prayer. He goes on to say, the father of Joe Clyde Daniels should do what is right and allow his son to have a proper place to rest. To have forgiveness, this step must be taken. That's what the former sheriff, Jeff Bledsoe, said. So guys, what do you think? I think this speaks volumes. I do. Now, I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure there was probably multiple counties out there the day Sebastian went missing helping out. And, it wouldn't surprise me if, officers heard things, told other officers, hey, mom's acting this way, stepdad's acting this way, extended family of the boy is acting this way. I mean, they talk. And I just wonder, with him being the sheriff at the time, he gets all the information. He gets all the information. So I mean, he's not the sheriff no more, but he was back when Joe Clyde went missing, and I'm sure, the former sheriff, he still gets the tea spilled to him, so to speak. You know what I mean? But anyway, guys, that's what I've got for you. When I seen this article, I was like, wow, that's my video for today. That is my video. So, let me know what you think, guys. Let me know in the comments below what you think. What do you think? Pretty powerful statement by the former sheriff? I think it is. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think about the article. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So hope you have a good evening. And y'all take care. I'll see you tomorrow.